You can now find me on RoadStr, the app connecting people through cars.
Hello everybody, today a short and hopefully for you all humorous video. It's going to be quite difficult to tell this story for reasons that will soon become obvious. Normally I do this sort of thing in the office, but as it's a beautiful day and I have this gorgeous Aston Martin V8 Vantage S, courtesy of my friend Richard from the channel Challenge the Road, I thought why not, I'll bring you along, we'll have a bit of a drive and we'll talk about the topic. So then, being a YouTuber and the funniest and strangest thing that has happened to me in a very long time. You may have seen that at Christmas time I did an interview with a guy called Steve Nichols, who was the brains behind the most successful Formula One car of all time, the 1988 McLaren MP44, a car that won 15 out of the 16 races in which it raced. This was a project I was quite excited about for some time. I'd been planning it for months, it took 2 days to film, about a week to edit, and I had a lot emotionally riding on it. This was a big, really important piece that was discussing things that had gone unsaid for 30 years, and I was really concerned not just to get things right, but also to make sure that people watched the video. And as I don't really believe in doing advertisement because you're just really lying to yourself, it was really, really vital that the video did well. Most big hit videos for me don't actually tend to do brilliantly in the first sort of week. Most videos that do decent, after about 48 hours, they slow right down and they're kind of done. But my real, true big hitters, they tend to be videos that are a little bit more oddball, or stuff, say, like the McLaren video, which is an hour of me sat and talking. They're not the sort of thing people watch casually, but then as everyone starts discussing the video, talking about, hey, have you seen this? Did you hear about this, this, and this? The video then starts to do well, and it's after about 2 weeks that it really begins to fly, and that's when you know you've got a real big hit. So with the video about Steve, things got off to the start I expected. It was fairly slow in the first few days. I'd expect a video now to do maybe 30 to 40,000 views, and it was doing about 10 to 15. I'd hoped and sort of suspected that it would improve over time. I was waiting for it to do this, and eventually I started to notice that the views were picking up, things were improving. It's a very exciting time for a YouTuber. Anyone that does it, I'm sure, can relate, because you start getting really addicted to your phone, watching these numbers go up and up and up and up and up. It's really very exciting. So I was checking one morning on the video, as I do. This is about day, I'd say 5 or 6, and things had really started to move. This was the key and most critical part of the video's life. And I saw the video had been demonetized. I had many concerns about this happening to the video because I'd used an awful lot of footage taken from many different sources, which were applied in a way that should satisfy fair use requirements. However, it's always possible that somebody can put a complaint in, and F1 in particular, Liberty Media, they're very, very strict about how you use their stuff. So I was worried someone would put a complaint in and that then the video would be stopped and I'd have to re-edit it without the footage and so on and so forth. So I thought that's what had happened, and then I looked and I very quickly saw that that wasn't at all what had happened. When you upload a video to YouTube and you make money out of it, you have to tell them certain things about the video so they can decide whether it's suitable for them to put adverts on or not. These include various things, for example, discussion of sensitive topics, race, that sort of stuff, religion, war, famine, disease, pestilence, disaster, firearms, content, any sort of, adult topics, that sort of stuff, drug use, all these things. And most of my videos, of course, don't really need to worry about. There's not really even any swearing in them. But for this one, I think I'd said that there was some mild swearing, and that was about it. Nothing else really to write home about. And they came back to me and they said, well, you've said that this video only has a couple of mild bad words in it, but actually we found that it contains some extremely offensive, hateful, possibly bigoted language. And I was so confused. I thought, this is a lovely 70-year-old bloke from Utah talking about his Formula One career. He even self-censored. I don't think he even swore properly once throughout the whole video. Very, very confused. And even worse than that, they don't actually tell you what bit it is that they have a problem with. They just tell you that somewhere in this hour-long video is an issue. I was also working on the second version of the video, the 2.5 hour long one, and I knew that if the first one had a problem, was almost certainly going to as well. I was genuinely concerned, and I wasn't really worried about not making money out of the video, because I wasn't doing it for that reason. I make money out of all videos, so losing one, although it was a big video, wasn't really going to be a disaster. What is a problem though is as soon as your video gets demonetized, YouTube lose any and all interest in promoting it. In fact, I got a screenshot of what happened to my views at the time, and what I saw is that the moment the video was demonetized, I lost 90-something% of the views on it. It was just not being pushed at all. What you were left with was presumably the organic traffic that the video was getting by people sharing it themselves or being subscribed to the channel. This probably explains now why it's so very hard for people with new channels to get decent views for any of their videos, because YouTube's not really making any money out of them, so they don't care. The really funny thing about YouTube now is that even if I turned adverts off for a video, you're still going to get them. I just won't get any money for it. So yeah, I know a lot of people have opinions about YouTube and adverts and stuff like that, and please believe me, from a content creator's perspective, we get upset with it as well, but we have little to no control over it. So anyway, I get this video, all of a sudden, YouTube's not pushing it, I'm not making any money out of it, and they won't tell me for why. The only reason I've got is that apparently someone's been racist. So I'm trying to work out what on earth he said. I'm going through the video, talking to different people, working out what's going on here. YouTube, because I'm a larger channel, over 100k, there is a button where I can say, no, can a human watch this video and see what's going on? Because there's every chance that a machine has listened to the video, misheard something, and that's the reason. And I ticked that button, and YouTube came back immediately and said, no, a human has watched your video and they have decided you have been offensive, you're not getting any money out of us, screw you. So I was panicking. I mean, really properly panicking. I felt awful. I couldn't eat. I was just like, oh no. So I was talking to a few friends, and one in particular deserves massive thanks, because I think he solved my problem. And that's Anthony from the channel Sports and Touring, with whom I've now got a very good friendship, and we've sort of been talking a lot over the last couple of years. He had a genius idea, because he did something I didn't realize you could even do. You've probably noticed that YouTube can auto-generate captions for any video, and it's actually surprisingly good at it, worryingly good, I think. So what he did was took the printout of the closed captions and was searching manually for any terms that might be vulgar and offensive. This is where being a YouTuber becomes really quite complicated, because it's a global platform. All of us on it, though, will come from one particular walk of life or place, and you do wind up with misunderstandings. I myself have got in hot water over a word that we would use here to refer to Japanese cars, yet in America is considered a racial slur. The issue is that it's not used that way here ever, but over there it always is, and people are very good at forgetting that just because someone said a word that upsets you doesn't mean that that's what they intended. To give you another example, I've known people who've got into real trouble over their videos or Facebook posts by using a word that here in Britain, if you said it to anyone, you would instantly think they meant a cigarette. But in America and elsewhere, this may be considered a homophobic slur, and of course, you want to avoid that. Anthony searched all through this hour-long worth of transcript to work out what it is that might have been misinterpreted. And eventually he found the only thing that he thought could have even possibly given them some cause for concern. There was a piece in the video where Steve said that John Watson had had a big crash at a corner at Monza. And the name of the particular stretch at Monza is the Lesmos. I'm almost certainly going to have to go and manually go through the transcript of this video, because if it mishears that, I'm going to have to manually correct it and tell YouTube again. Now, the Lesmos is a corner at Monza. But there is another word that sounds an awful lot like it, which I didn't even really think was something people said anymore, and certainly I've never really heard used as much of a slur anyway. I'm sure some consider it offensive, but just a word I haven't heard for years. It's a playground word from the 90s. So, armed with this knowledge, I went back to YouTube, who'd said for me that they would investigate the issue further, and I sent them a map of Monza with the names of all of the corners highlighted on it, and the timestamp of this particular piece of the video. And I said to them, look, here's the word that he was using. Listen to it again. You can hear it fairly clearly. He hasn't stuttered. He hasn't done what I did the other day where he said Colin McRae because I've got a hay fever or anything like that. No, it was very, very clear. The machine just doesn't really know its corners at Monza. Half an hour later, video back online, monetization returns, the views return, everything proceeds as normal. And did YouTube ever apologize to me or admit to me that that's exactly what happened? No. And this is quite severe. You get enough videos flagged for that kind of thing, your channel can be shut down, or at the absolute minimum, you will be permanently demonetized. Dealing with YouTube is not particularly easy. It feels at times very, very one-sided. They're not at all decent at interacting with you or feeding back in any sort of helpful way. And so that, hopefully, is an entertaining but enlightening example of some of the really, really weird stuff that we, as YouTubers, have to deal with. Hope you've enjoyed today's little drive and talk. Don't forget to like, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already, because I've got another 800,000 to go until I get another plaque out of YouTube. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you for the next one. Bye-bye.